I'm kidding. Hold on. Shh. Okay. Today's math vlog is for Module 2, Lesson 2, but we're going to start by going over last night's homework. Take it a step back again and look at exactly what it means when we're dividing fractions and making these models. So, Halloween candy is left over. We have a Kit Kat bar. Okay? There are 4 pieces to a Kit Kat bar. Well, my husband realized that I had the last Kit Kat bar. My dog licked 1/4 of the Kit Kat bar. Now, I don't have a dog, but it makes sense for the story. So that 1/4 is no good. Can't use that 1/4 of the Kit Kat bar. So we have 3/4 of the Kit Kat bar left. And my husband says, "You're not eating the last Kit Kat bar." So being the fantabulous wife that I am, I say, fine, we'll split it in half. So I'm going to take my 3/4 of a Kit Kat bar. We're going to divide it by 2, right? Which means half of the Kit Kat bar is for him, half of it is for me. So what I did was I took my Kit Kat bar and broke it in half that way. I snapped off the top half for him. Now that I snapped off my Kit Kat bar, how many pieces of Kit Kat are there? There were 4ths, but now I took those 4ths and snapped them in half. So how many pieces, everybody?
8.
There are now 8 pieces. We've got those 2 pieces that the dog could have now. My husband gets the top half. So how many of those 8s does my husband get? Everybody?
3.
3. So half of the 3/4 is 3/8. Okay? Yes?
Can't you just, I don't know how to explain it, but, can't you just do that problem and then, it's the same thing as you get 1 and then split 1
Well,
half?
this is how you're going to make the model for dividing fractions. So now let's go back and look at number 1 of last night's homework. So the shaded area shows 2/5. I don't want this whole 1/5, 2/5. I don't want the whole 2/5. We divided that by 5. So we snapped it into fifths. Here's a 5th. Here's a 5th. Here's a 5th. Here's a 5th. I only want 1/5 of that 2/5. So that's now 2 out of how many boxes?
25.
25. So it's 2 out of 25. Now, time for honesty. How many people got 1 out of 25 for their answer? How many people got 10 out of 25 for their answer? Okay, here's what I want to show you. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. This took me a long time today to figure out why this was wrong, but I got it, and I'm so excited that some of you got it wrong so that I could show it to you. So it was 2/5 divided by 5.
I heard that a lot of people had this work done correctly. I was surprised.
Some people, all right, that's really terrible tape diagram. So now we have 2/5. You with me so far?
Yes.
I want you to tell me what people did wrong. So here's 2/5. And we're dividing it. I didn't do anything wrong yet. Well, let me do it wrong and then tell me what I did wrong. So now we're going to divide it into fifths. It's 2/5 divided by 5. So my 2/5 divided by 5. What's wrong with that? Why did I divide my 2/5 incorrectly? How did I divide my 2/5 incorrectly? What did I do wrong?
If you went up and down instead of horizontal.
But why couldn't I do it this way? Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong?
You won't get the same answer.
I won't get the same answer because That is divided by 5. That won't show on the block. That was divided by 5. What does that green box represent? What does that green box represent in the whole tick diagram? That's only 1/5. I did 1/5 divided by 5. They're asking you they want this 2/5 divided by 5. Now let's see, if I cut this into fifths, are my boxes even? Are they being constant? No, I cannot. Well, I could go ahead and erase this blue and then try to do 5, but that's just confusing and doesn't work, and no. That's why we divided it the other way. When we had our 2/5, it made more sense to cut it in fifths that way. Because this 2/5 divided by 5 didn't work. Do you see the difference? So those of you who got 10/25, 10/25 is the right answer if it was 1/5 divided by 5. Do you see that? Okay.
I got the right answer, but did it like that, but I did it a little different. I drew the lines like that.
Then you must have made 2 mistakes that canceled each other out. We'll come take a look at that in a minute, okay? So let's finish going over the homework. Number 2 is actually my Kit Kat example. Number 2 for the homework is the Kit Kat example. So are there any other questions on the homework? All right. So turn to today's notes. All right, we're actually not going to start on the first page. We're going to start on the back. Yes.
Oh, I have a question over there too.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Here's something that a lot of us are forgetting to do, and that's to stop and think about it. A lot of times in math, our goal is to get the answer. Just react and shoot out an answer. So, for example, how many half miles are in 12? Shoot out your answer. Everybody, call out an answer. 6. Okay. I hear a lot of people saying 6. Don't write that down. Let's stop and think about it. Because this is what I'm seeing in a lot of work. On a quiz a while ago, there was a sweater, I think it was like $40 sweater. Some of you people were giving me $100 discount. I was like totally shopping in their stores when they grow up. Does that make sense? No, you have to stop and think about it. On the end of module assessment, we had a bag of flour. What's that? And the bag of flour was 60 pounds, $5. But then some of you told me that 1 pound of sand was $12. Does that make sense that less sand is more money? No, that doesn't make sense. How could the price go up if I'm dividing it out? So you have to stop and think about it. Think to yourself, is my answer reasonable? So let's take a look at number 1. How many half miles are in 12 miles? A lot of you called out 6 as your answer. But let's stop and think about it. You all know I'm training for a half marathon. So in a couple of months, I'm going to have to get up to 12 miles. And when I run, I bring my iPhone with me in case I want to call a cab to go home. And the woman, I thought that was funny. But anyway, who's paying attention? So I have this app on my phone that helps me keep track. Every half mile, the woman counts it out for me. You have run half a mile. You have run 1 mile. You have run 1.5. You have run 2. You're going really slow. 2.5. So if every half mile she calls it out, how many times am I going to hear this woman yelling at me when I run 12 miles? So picture yourself, close your eyes if you have to. Picture 12 miles in front of you. Every mile is now cut in half. How many are there? Each mile is now cut in half. If I had 12 cookies and I cut each one in half, how many pieces do I have now? 12 cookies cut in half. Everybody? 24. But before, yeah. So, but what did you all call out right away? 6. You have to stop and think about it. So how would I write that as a division equation? I had my 12 miles, and I cut them into halves. How would I write that as division? I had my 12, and I separated those into halves. What did I do? Did I take half a mile and break it into 12 pieces?
Start with what you start with. What are you starting with?
What was in front of me? I had 12 cookies. And then each cookie I divided into a half. That's how you write a division. But now, I had 12 cookies. When I broke them all into halves, you're telling me I have 24 pieces. How does that work with multiplication? What is that?
12 times 2.
Times 2. Remember, a long time ago, we said dividing by a half is the same thing as multiplying by 2.
If I cut something in half, I have 2 of them.
Right. We have more, because I cut it in half, so I made more pieces.
I have a question about why you said it.
Because I have 12 miles, and I'm putting them into groups of a half. Because I'm not timesing it by a half. Because now I had 12 cookies times 2 pieces in each cookie. So that gave me 24. How many quarter hours are in 5 hours? So picture the clock. Picture 1 hour. How many quarters are in 1? Think about it. So how would I write this as a division equation? 5 divided by quarter hours. So that's the same thing as 5 times 4. How many third cups are in 9 cups? So picture a big bowl of flour in front of you. 9 cups, that's a lot of flour. But now I'm only taking out a third at a time. So what is that in division? How would I write that? Picture a big bowl. Now I'm only taking a third, a third, a third. Right. I'm going to have more than 9 cups because I had 9 cups, but I'm not taking out a whole cup. Taking out a part, a part, a part. So that's 9 times 3. We're not doing the third column. I made it.
You didn't say cross out the third column. You didn't say that.
Sure. So I had 4 pizzas. We always slice the pizza into 8s. Right. But how many slices are there now? If there are 8 slices in 4 pizzas, how would we figure out how many slices, Brian? Exactly. And number 5? Number 5? Seven divided by 1/5. So that's 7 times 5. Okay, this should all be written. We're going to move on to the next one. We'll come back to it if we need more, if you didn't get it all down. So Molly used 9 cups of flour to bake bread. That 9 cups was 3/4 of her total amount of flour. So let's take a look and think about it. What does this mean? So here I have a bag of flour. 1, 2, 3. It's in fourths now. I used 3/4 of the bag of flour. That 3/4 that I used was equal to 9 cups. What was the original amount? So we want to know what was the total amount of flour she had before she started baking. So let's think about it. What are we looking to do? So if we know 3/4, remember this? 1, 2, 3. I know that 3/4, I used 3/4, I used 9 cups. So that means 3/4 is 9 cups. Please take your notes. You should be writing your notes. So if 3/4 was 9, what would 1/4 be? What would each of those be? 3, 6, 9. So what's my total? 12. So how much flour did I originally have?
Can I use pen to darken out the lines?
If you want to. Whoops. Originally had 12 cups. Do you see how we used our tape diagram? I used 3/4 of the bag. So I showed with my tape diagram 3/4 of the bag. 3/4 of the bag was 9 cups. So I was able to figure out what the whole was. This is exactly what we did back in Module 1. Let's try another one. A construction company sign is setting up signs on 4 miles of road. So picture that ahead of you. There's 4 miles of road. Every 1/8 of a mile, we need signs. So if we put a sign at every 1 mile, how many signs would we need? 4. But we need more than that because we're doing at all the parts of the mile. So if we have 4 miles, we need to divide it by 8 to figure out the total number of signs that we have. I need to find my total. So I know 1/8 of what number is 4. And you should be writing this question down, and that's the question you want to be writing in your homework tonight as well. So remember, part of a whole, this is, so now let's see, 1/8. Let me find my 1/8. So here's my 1/8. 1/8 of what number? I want to find my total amount of signs that I need. 1/8 is 4. So if 1/8 is 4, 2/8 is 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. So what's the total number of signs? The company needs a total of 32 signs.
Should you count by 4?
That's what you're doing.
I mean, count by 8.
No, not by 8s. Okay? We ready to try the next one? 8 divided by 4 will give you 2. And then see the total. So they were trying to find the total number. We don't know the total number. George bought 12 pizzas for a birthday party. If each person will eat 3/8 of a pizza, how many people can George feed with 12 pizzas? So I have 12 pizzas divided by 3/8 for each person. I need to find the total number of people. So 3/8 of what number is 12? I have to find the total number of people that I can feed. I'm going to find my 3/8. So I draw my 3/8, and I know that 3/8 is equal to 12. That I got out of the problem. 3/8 equals 12. Copy this down, please. So if what is it? Right, each eighth equals 4. So I keep my constant. How many people can he feed? What's the total? 3/4. 12 of what number? 32. Again. So he can feed 32 people. That's a big party. I hope I get invited. I like pizza. Mom?
I don't get how you went 5/4.
Because 3/8 brought me to 12. So I had to take the 12 and split it up between those 3/8. So 12 divided by 3 was 4. So my constant was 4. Just like the tape diagrams we did in Module 1. Okay, do you see that now? You sure? Okay, let's try the next one. Let's start that one on your own. You should be getting the hang of this. The Lopez family has adopted 6 miles of trail on the Erie Canal. If each family member cleans up 3/4 of a mile, how many family members will be needed to clean the adopted section? Okay, so I have 6 miles divided by 3/4. So 3/4 of what number is 6? So what are you going to draw first? Tape diagram. And my tape diagram is going to show 3/4. Because I only know my parts. I have to find my whole. How many family members do I need? So 3/4 is 6. All right, so that means each constant is 2. So what's my total? Okay, they need 8 family members to clean up. All right. Margot is freezing 8 cups of strawberries. That is 2/3 that she picked. She's not freezing everything that she picked. She's keeping some. So 2/3 of what number is 8? So let's see 2/3. 1/3, 2/3. 2/3 is 8. So what's my constant? 4, 12. So she picked 12 cups. But she kept some to eat now, and she froze 8 cups, which was 2/3. Okay? And number 5. Well, Mrs. Portsmore, I was a little upset making this smartboard this morning because do you know how hard it was to find pictures of women chopping wood? And I said, women could totally chop wood. I did find a couple pictures, but that doesn't look like you. I know you had pictures. It was too early to text you to ask you to send me those pictures of you in Vermont chopping wood. Okay, so Mrs. Portsmore is chopping wood. She has 10 logs chopped so far, and that was only 5/8. So 5/8 was part of a number that equaled 10. So let's see our 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 5/8 represents the 10 logs that Mrs. Portmore chopped. So what's my constant? 2. So how many logs were there all together? Look at this beautiful sentence. So on your homework, we need to see the division, we need to see the sentence, we need to see the model, we need to see the answer. All 4 parts, and you always do your homework on loose leaf. That's right, labeled with a heading so we know what it is. Good job, everybody.